There are moments in life when we feel overwhelmed, when the weight of the world presses down on us, and we wonder if we have the strength to keep going. Challenges come from every side, battles we never expected, struggles that seem too great to bear. But in these moments, we must remember that we are not alone. There is a word, a promise, a declaration from God that reminds us of who we are and whose we are. That word is found in Isaiah 43, one of the most powerful prayers and declarations in the Bible. There are times in life when we feel overlooked, when it seems like no one truly understands what we're going through, the struggles, the disappointments, the silent battles. Sometimes it feels as if we're all alone. But the truth is, before you were even formed, before you took your first breath, you were already chosen. You were already loved. You were already seen by the one who created you. There's a powerful promise that reminds us of this truth. Fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name, you are mine. Those aren't just words. They're a divine declaration. You belong to something greater. You have been set apart for a purpose. No matter what you've been through, no matter what labels the world has tried to put on you, the Creator of the universe has already called you by name. And when He calls you, no one can cancel that calling. Maybe you've been struggling with feelings of rejection. Maybe someone walked away from you. Maybe a door closed that you thought was meant to stay open. But just because people don't see your worth doesn't mean you don't have it. Just because circumstances didn't go the way you planned doesn't mean your destiny has changed. The one who formed you, the one who spoke life into you, hasn't forgotten you. He hasn't abandoned you. He is speaking over you right now, saying, you are mine. Think about how powerful that is. You are not just another face in the crowd. You are not just going through life unnoticed. The same God who created the stars, the oceans, and the mountains knows you personally. He doesn't just know of you. He knows every detail about you. He knows your dreams, your fears, your struggles, and your victories. And He calls you His own. That means you don't have to live in fear. You don't have to worry about what the future holds. You don't have to question whether you are enough. You are already enough because you belong to the one who is more than enough. You don't have to try to prove your worth because your worth was established before you were even born. There may be times when life tries to shake your identity, when disappointments come, when prayers seem unanswered, when struggles linger longer than expected. It's easy to start doubting, easy to start wondering if you've been forgotten. But that's when you have to remind yourself of the truth. You are chosen. You are redeemed. You are His. Other people's opinions don't define you. Your past mistakes don't define you. The delays, the setbacks, the obstacles, none of it can change who you are in His eyes. The world may see flaws, but He sees purpose. The world may count you out, but He has already counted you in. And because you belong to Him, you can walk through life with confidence. You don't have to be swayed by every challenge. You don't have to be shaken by every storm. You are anchored in something unshakable. When doubt tries to creep in, when fear whispers that you're not enough, when circumstances make you question your worth, stand on this promise. I have called you by name. You are mine. Let that truth settle deep in your heart. Let it remind you that no matter what comes your way, you are never alone. You are loved, you are chosen, and your best days are still ahead. Life has a way of bringing challenges when we least expect them. One moment, everything seems to be going well, and the next, we're facing something we never saw coming. Maybe it's a financial struggle, a health issue, or a relationship that's falling apart. It can feel overwhelming, like the waves are crashing over you, like you're drowning in the weight of it all. But there's a promise that says, when you pass through the waters, I will be with you. When you pass through the rivers, they will not sweep over you. That's not just a hopeful thought. That's a divine guarantee. Notice that it doesn't say if you pass through the waters, but when. That means difficulties are a part of life. Challenges will come, setbacks will happen, but here's the key: you are never alone. You may feel like the waves are too strong, like the current is pulling you under, but you have a lifeline. There is something greater holding you up, something stronger sustaining you. The storm may be fierce, but it will not destroy you. The fire may be intense, but it will not consume you. Think about how many times you faced things you thought you wouldn't survive. There were moments when you didn't see a way out, moments when the pain felt unbearable. And yet, here you are, still standing, still breathing, still pushing forward. That's not by accident. That's because you were never in the storm alone. You may have walked through deep waters, but you weren't abandoned. You may have gone through the fire, but you didn't get burned. We look at our struggles and wonder why we have to go through them. We ask, why is this happening? Why is this so hard? But the truth is, challenges are not there to break you, they are there to build you. Every difficulty, every setback, every battle is shaping you into something stronger. You are being refined, prepared, strengthened for something greater. It's easy to think that challenges mean something is wrong, that maybe you're being punished or that you're not good enough. But difficulties don't mean you're forgotten. They mean you're growing. They mean there's a purpose on the other side. When gold is purified, it has to go through intense heat. When diamonds are formed, they endure extreme pressure. In the same way, when you face trials, you are being refined, shaped, and molded into the person you were created to be. If you're facing a storm right now, if you're feeling overwhelmed, remember that this is not where your story ends. The waters will not overtake you. The fire will not destroy you. This challenge is not the end. It's just a chapter. The same power that has carried you through past struggles will carry you through this one. You may not see the way out yet, but it's coming. You may not understand why you're walking through this, but one day you will. When you look back, you'll see that every difficult season prepared you for something greater. Every battle strengthened your faith. Every storm deepened your trust. And you'll realize that you were never walking through it alone. You were always being held, always being guided, always being protected. So don't let fear take over. Don't let the size of the storm make you forget the strength of the one who is holding you. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. And no matter what comes your way, you will make it through. We face situations that seem impossible. Doors close, opportunities dry up, and no matter how hard we try, it feels like we've hit a dead end. It's easy to get discouraged, to think that maybe this is just how life is going to be. But just because you don't see a way doesn't mean there isn't one. Just because things aren't moving as quickly as you hoped doesn't mean something isn't happening behind the scenes. There's a promise that says, see, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the desert. That means even when you can't see it, things are shifting in your favor. Even when nothing seems to be changing, the ground is moving beneath you. Just because you don't feel progress doesn't mean progress isn't happening. The reason things don't go according to our plan is that there's a better plan in place. You may have had your heart set on something, but what if what you wanted wasn't nearly as good as what's coming? What if the closed door wasn't rejection, but redirection? What if the delay wasn't denial, but preparation? It's easy to get frustrated when things don't happen on our timetable. We want answers now. We want breakthroughs now. But sometimes what looks like a setback is really a setup for something greater. You may feel like you're in a season of waiting, like nothing is happening. But beneath the surface, things are shifting. Pieces are coming together. The right people, the right opportunities, the right moments, they're all aligning in a way you can't see yet. If a door has closed, don't waste time banging on it trying to force it open. Sometimes we hold on so tightly to what we thought should happen that we don't see what's actually happening. When one door closes, another is about to open. But if you're too focused on what didn't work out, you'll miss the new thing that's springing up right in front of you. When you look at a seed, it doesn't look like much. It's small, unimpressive, buried in the dirt. But just because you don't see anything happening doesn't mean growth isn't taking place. Roots are forming underground. Foundations are being built. And when the time is right, that seed will break through the soil and what was once hidden will be revealed. That's how life works. You may feel like nothing is happening right now. You've been waiting, believing, praying, but the answer hasn't come. That doesn't mean the answer isn't on its way. What feels like a delay is really preparation. If you received what you are asking for too soon, you might not be ready for it. If the opportunity came before its time, it wouldn't be as great as it's meant to be. So instead of getting discouraged, shift your perspective. Trust that something better is coming. Trust that what's meant for you won't pass you by. If it didn't work out, that means it wasn't the best for you. Something greater is on its way. Keep your heart open, keep your faith strong, and watch how things unfold. What you thought was an ending is really just the beginning. There are moments in life when we feel weak, when we don't think we have the strength to go on. The disappointments, the setbacks, the things we never saw coming. They can drain our faith, make us question whether we're really on the right path. But the truth is, you were never meant to do this on your own. You weren't created to carry every burden, to figure out every problem, to fight every battle by yourself. There's a promise that says, those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not faint. That means you don't have to rely on your own ability. You don't have to muster up all the strength on your own. When you feel like you can't take another step, when you feel like giving up, there is a power greater than you, ready to lift you, to carry you, to strengthen you in ways you never imagined. Think about the eagle. When the storm comes, other birds seek shelter, but the eagle rises above it. It doesn't fight against the wind. It uses the wind to soar. The very thing that should have held it down is what lifts it higher. That's what happens when you put your trust in something greater than yourself. The struggles that should have broken you, the trials that should have taken you out, somehow they become the very things that push you forward. Maybe you've been in a season where it feels like you're running but not getting anywhere. You're trying, you're believing, but it seems like nothing is changing. It's easy to get tired, to start thinking, maybe this is just how life is going to be. But that's when you have to remind yourself that your strength doesn't come from you. There's a source of power that never runs out, a strength that never fails, a hope that never fades. You may be tired now, but that's not where your story ends. You may feel weak, but that's not who you are. You have been created to soar. You have been built to rise above. The difficulty you're facing isn't the end of you. It's a setup for something greater. The things that were meant to weigh you down, to keep you stuck, are actually going to lift you higher. We don't realize how strong we are until we've walked through the fire. We don't recognize the power inside us until we've faced something we never thought we could overcome. But here's the truth. Every time you thought you couldn't go on, but you kept going, That was strength being built. Every time you wanted to quit but took one more step, that was endurance growing inside of you. What you're facing right now is not a sign that you're defeated. It's a sign that something greater is on the way. It's a sign that your strength is being renewed, that your faith is being refined, that your story is still unfolding. So don't let the weariness make you give up. Don't let the struggles convince you that you're alone. Help is on the way. Strength is rising. And when the time is right, no matter what you face in life, no matter how difficult the journey may seem, there is always a greater purpose at work. Every challenge, every delay, every closed door is not a setback. It's a setup for something better. What may seem like an obstacle today is often the very thing that will strengthen you for what's ahead. You were never meant to do this alone. There is a power greater than you guiding your steps, opening the right doors, and making a way where there seems to be none. Even when you don't see it, even when you don't feel it, things are working in your favor. The struggles you've faced are not the end of your story. They are preparing you for a greater chapter. So don't give up. Don't let fear, doubt, or uncertainty hold you back. Keep believing, keep trusting, keep moving forward. When the time is right, you will see that everything you've walked through has led you exactly where you're meant to be. The best is still ahead, and your breakthrough is closer than you think.